Large anti-Hitler demonstration at the Berlin Sportpalast on December 2, 1931, organized by the Republican Reichsbanner, an organization whose goal was to defend parliamentary democracy against internal subversion and extremism from the left and right. A photo of Anne Frank and her friends who are celebrating Anne's 10th birthday. 1939, Anne is pictured second to the left in a dark-colored dress. American MPs with 14-year-old Willy Echenberg and 10-year-old Hubert Heinrichs, who are being held after sniping at U.S. troops in Aachen, Germany, October 1944. The boys said they had been taught to do this by the Hitler Youth Movement. How about moving over, bud? A scouting dog and a U.S. Marine who was comfortably occupying a foxhole in Guam during World War II, 1944. While the Army had put war dogs to good use already, mainly for sentry and United States postal truck promoting mailboxes in Washington, 1916. Coney Island, July 4, 1946. Colorized photo of British tattoo artist George Burchett, the king of tattooists, 1930. He was expelled from school at 12 for tattooing his classmates. He joined the Royal Navy at 13. Polish athlete Władysław Kazakowicz shows his famous gesture to Soviet fans that booed him, 1980. He defeated the Soviet athlete Konstantin Volkov at the finals of the Olympic Games. A railroad plow, also known as a Schienenwolf, rail wolf, destroys Soviet train tracks as the Germans retreat, winter 1943. World War I biplane pilot, 1915. Aerial combat happened in WW1 little more than a decade after the first powered flight. This is one of those cases of war forcing an extremely fast improvement in technology. An overflow facility that the FBI's Identification Division started using during World War II for the purposes of clearance needs of the Armed Services, 1944. The building is the DC Armory, a multi-use arena facility and sometimes ice rink, which is still in existence. The Hindenburg floating past the Empire State Building in 1936. The building's distinctive Art Deco spire was originally designed to be a mooring mast and depot for dirigibles. The 102nd floor was originally a landing platform with a dirigible gangplank. Women being arrested for wearing one-piece bathing suit and showing a little leg. 1922 in Chicago. 18-year-old French resistance fighter, Simone Seguin, aka Nicole Minet, from Chartres. La Libération de Chartres, Paris, August 19, 1944. Princess Elizabeth of York shakes hands with an old soldier. 1929, in London. Adolf Hitler upon his release from Landsberg prison, December 20, 1924. He tried to stage a coup by marching with 2,000 men on Munich, and they violently clashed with police and a lot of people were killed. A view of some of the 400,000 people who were at Woodstock, 1969. I must tip my hat to Woodstock FOH engineer Bill Hanley. Sergeant Major Jiggs, mascot of the U.S. Marine Corps, undated. Since 1922, the United States Marine Corps has used bulldogs as its mascots. U.S. Marine Maj. Charleston Dance Contest in front of St. Louis City Hall, Missouri, 1925. The funny thing about this photo is that the dance positions are entirely posed. American stage and film actress of the early silent film era Marie Darrow, 1902. The unkempt, messy hairstyle was a fad of the early 20th century. A French girl welcomes her country's liberators outside the Palace of Versailles, 1945. This reminds me of an encounter my uncle had outside the palace in the early 70s. A young army officer holds a bat used for interrogation while discussing the fate of an African prisoner outside an abandoned schoolhouse during the Bush War in southern Rhodesia, 1977. The first wheelie ever photographed, 1936. Muslim members of the Waffen-SS 13th Division stopped to pray, 1942. Many of these soldiers came from Bosnia, and it was a conscious decision to fight the communist partisans and the nationalist Chetniks. The last commercial sailing ship, Premier, to round Cape Horn in 1949. Sailing ships were still considered viable cargo transport ships through World War I. Some, probable not many but a few, were still used even during World War II.